Hi everybody, we're here at the Count Basie Teen and College Film Fest in Red Bank, New Jersey. These are all students from the state of New Jersey, and we are just so thrilled to get to know them, to interview them, see what their passions are.
We are having a blast here, and we wanted to share these interviews with you. They're students who are inspired and creating amazing things and changing the way our industry works already. So enjoy the interviews.
I'm Maura, and we both co-directed Panic.
I'm Mia. I worked on Panic with Maura, and we've both been doing, I've been doing film for like 2 years now. Maura?
I've been doing it for like 4 years in high school, and then in 7th grade I also made one, so I guess I'd count next year.
Wow.
That, but.
So, we watched Panic, and I need to know more about this story because it was really powerful, and so it was such an experience. I said that earlier, but tell us where this story came from for you.
Well, it came from me in my life because I struggle with panic disorder. So this film's so important to me because ever since I started making films, I've been really inspired by people who like to break the stigma for mental illness, and I want to contribute to that a lot. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand panic disorder and how confusing it can be and how tough it can be as well. So I wanted to show visually, at least that's how I communicate best, how it feels to have panic attacks at random, doesn't even have to be triggered. But yeah, it was based off of my life and a pretty specific instance that happened in school for me.
You could tell that it was such a personal story. I had goosebumps while you were talking. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it was showcased really well on the screen, and the craft of the editing, like, oh my God, I'm sure it took revision after revision, V1, V2, final, right? Like
Yeah.
underscore
Final.
final.
Yeah.
It got, very intense, and I think that it was beautifully crafted.
Thank you so much.
What was the biggest discovery during this journey?
Oh gosh.
This is like the first film that I've done that I think is really serious. I know Maura was doing a lot of comedies in the year prior to that, so I think tapping into that really serious acting and, approaching such a difficult topic that led to a lot of discoveries, just like, oh, how do you get in the headspace, like what looks good, or like for me it was just like you have to, I was kind of acting too in a way. I was trying to like shake the camera, trying to make it all look like,
Yes.
Yeah.
just really convey that panic. I think we worked a lot with audio and editing, just matching that together, like hitting every beat's a new clip on the drums.
Working with the music producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
That
Yeah.
was new.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The sound design too.
Yeah. And this was my first time acting. I'm not an actress.
What?
It was just based off my own experience, and I thought there wasn't really anyone else other than me that could like show my story. So I much prefer being behind the camera. I love directing. So being in front of the camera took a lot for me to compose myself and to be able to enter a headspace that was very prominent a year ago, so it was a little hard to tap into get back there. So
it's also super vulnerable to get back to that space.
Yeah, it was tough to like re-enter that area of my life, but
What she would do is she would listen to really sad music, like right before every shoot. She'd like listen to the stuff that she'd listened to a year ago, and it was
It brought you right.
Yeah.
That's
it
interesting.
did, yeah, because I listen to music all the time, so I was like, oh, what would Maura a year ago be listening to? So then I listened to it, and I'm like, oh, and then my heart just immediately sinks as soon as I hear the songs, because it's like just transports me into that time.
Wow.
It gives you that emotional preparation for the scene. That's so cool.
The one thing that I thought was really well done was when you're in the bathroom and you're having the attack, but then you come back and it's like the shot is still, and like it's like nobody knew that you ever had this happen to you just then. It's like everybody's like just listening to this history lesson. You're like, oh my God. But yeah, it was really well done.
And it conveyed this sense of just being so alone in that struggle, and everything goes on around you as normal, and you're this young woman is just coping on her own.
Yeah. Thank you. We purposely did that with the cinematography. We tried to make the shots in the classroom.
We set up the beginning with all the shots in the classroom. Like there's kids yawning.
Exactly.
There's kids taking notes,
Yeah.
and then it's her, and you see her how she's really alienated. Yeah.
Movement in the camera doesn't start until I get out of the classroom, and then it escalates as it go on. So it's like my mind and all that.
Do you have any inspirations, any favorite film directors, any favorite movies that you want to shout out?
My favorite director is Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land and Whiplash. I love how he uses color and movement in the camera to give certain emotions in a film. So I was very inspired by that, especially Whiplash with the drums.
Yeah.
That was our prompt. It was we had like a list, and one of them was like make a film inspired by a director or a film. So that's where we kind of got drums from, I feel like.
Yeah.
And Mia, what about you?
I think my favorite movie right now, I really liked, I just saw it was called The Worst Person in the World. I'm not really into movies with like a big climax. Like I can like Marvel, that doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Like I love a little story,
Yes.
and it's like everything's happening but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Like, that's my
I love
favorite.
that too.
You like that? Yeah.
What's next for you guys?
College girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a senior. I'm going to college at SCAD next year and
Congrats.
studying film. Very excited. This one here's still a junior, going to be a senior.
Well, right now she's president of film club,
Nice.
and I'm vice president of film club. So hopefully,
Passing.
What, high school?
we go to Middletown High School.
Middletown represented this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
We did.
I want to work on making better ideas, and I want to find people that I like working with, like new younger people.
Building a team that you can trust, that you can work with again and again, because
can
it just
Big
makes
risks like this.
Yes.
And it lets you get deeper. It lets you do things that scare you, but it's worth it in the end.
My name is Justin Marinelli, and my film was Mr. Lonely Makes a Friend. It is sort of like a 50s style spoof on a Frankenstein story. And it's like centered around this character that creates a Frankenstein-like monster using monster energy because he's sad, because he's lonely. And it was
So lonely.
So lonely. And all of the music comes from like that kind of era, and I'm very happy with the way it all cuts together.
Can you tell us like how the story came about?
My buddy who played the monster, I don't remember if he was drinking Monster that day, if he just had the can on him, but he usually does. That was just sort of the inspiration for that. And I know Vinny Albano we were tasked with doing a silent film, and he thought it would be really cool if we did something in that sort of like silent film style with the cut off edges, like the 4x3, the still camera. And I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where it came from. We were just talking and it happened.
That's awesome.
But it was very fun.
Along the way, were there any obstacles that you had to overcome, or things that you discovered?
I guess the only real obstacle was the fact that we had to shoot it all within the confines of our school. The entire thing took place in our school, which you could tell that more towards the end, but I feel like in the middle it's like a little more vague. But it's just because we were only able to shoot for like an hour or 2 hours at a time at the very end of a day, and it took so much setup and prep because of Joey's costume, my costume, the room. We basically like rented out, that was our teacher's equipment room, where like the whole hospital type thing was. We basically overtook that entire room. It's usually filled wall to wall with like tripods and stuff. Emptied it all out. It was very fun though, and I especially miss like the levers when I power on.
I love that.
Those were actually from our school's play. A year prior, they did Young Frankenstein. I think that's a little bit where the inspiration came from as well. We remembered that they had those, and we wanted to go run down across the school to go get them. And I was already in costume, and I believe the bell had just rang. So me and my whole like decked out lab coat, I didn't want to take it off. I just walked down the hallway in that costume, and I'm pretty sure I got some weird looks. Someone called me Dexter from Dexter's Lab. But it was so fun. It was such a good time.
I love that scene and how you cut it together too. Like just all all the close-up shots like of you becoming the scientist, and like that whole scene was just really well done. And I love the ending too, because it's basically just a perpetual cycle. It's like, okay, I need a friend, but no, he's gonna hurt me, but no, I need a friend.
That's what I love about the ending. That's what I love it, because I love it, but I also love it because my mom loves it.
I love the ending too. It really made me laugh.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Me too. And I guess, like, what inspires you? What directors inspire you? What films inspire you?
It's weird because my whole life I've been doing stuff like this, but I don't watch that many movies. I watch more TV. And even then, I don't really consume all that much media. I grew up on cartoons from like Cartoon Network. Favorite show is Steven Universe. I'm actually rewatching that right now because I'm insane. But stuff like Breaking Bad, BoJack Horseman, oh my god, Better Call Saul is amazing. A film I did recently drew a lot of inspiration from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. And even this drew a lot of inspiration from Better Call Saul. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. I think a lot of my inspiration comes from my dad, because he is like in the industry, he does ads, and he actively like directs plays, he actively directs movies. He just like wrapped a movie and he's editing it right now. And it's insane to me. Ever since I was little, I've always loved telling stories, even in any sort of format, writing, video, I draw, and it's a passion of mine to make people feel what I want them to feel with my stories and take away like whatever they need to. I like making people feel things.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's in your bones.
What are you in high school right now?
Yes.
Okay, what grade, what high school?
I'm a junior at Howell High School. I'm in FPAC, MVP music video production, and I learn under Scott Napolitano. It's my
shout out
Mr.
Knapp.
We heard about Mr. Knapp.
Yes,
Love
heard good
him.
things.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
What a
So,
cool thing.
what's next for you?
I just wrapped production and actually turned in, this was an assignment on a film adaptation of The Rain Song by Led Zeppelin. And this has been a story that I've been waiting to tell for, it's been like 6 months. I've been planning this for like to a T by the shot. And now that it's finally complete, it's going to be a while before I actually end up releasing it publicly, because I would like to submit it to a couple festivals first. But I'm so happy with it.
That's awesome.
I never, like I said, my whole life I've been trying to tell these stories. I have yet to have a project this big finally be finished.
Woo.
So it's nice.
Good
Congrats.
feeling.
It's funny because every time I would get new footage, I would just sit down and I would cut it and it would be done in one
Nice.
sitting.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself.
couldn't.
It's not even because there was like the due date. I just needed to see
You
it.
needed
You
to
know?
You needed to do it.
I made a promise to myself, I'm not going to show my actors anything until it's totally done. But then I started showing them, like, here's a scene that you're not in.
Yeah.
And then like towards the end, because there's a scene with like all three, I was like, here, you can get a sneak peek. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
it so
Aw.
much. I'm very excited.
Sounds like you have like a really nice group of people that you can rely on to continue to make
I think
really cool things.
Vinny Albano, my DP and co-writer, co-director on Mr. Lonely, he shot The Rain Song with me. The best guy I've ever worked with in my entire
We met
life.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, we just met him.
He is incredible. He is incredible. I love him so much.
Aw.
Keep those relationships.
Yes, I can feel the passion. I can feel just the love for the industry, and
Yeah.
then the knowledge that you guys already possess.
Your teachers are amazing. They're doing a great job. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Your
I
film was
appreciate it.
wonderful. We had such a blast watching it, and we can't wait to see your next one.
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Where did you come up with this idea for making this?
So, I have been a part of Rocket Academy, which is a organization that basically takes young musicians in high school or even younger grades and puts them in bands, and then we rehearse for about 8 weeks, and then we have a few performances after. But I play acoustic guitar for Rocket, and so I was really inspired by all the musicians and talent around me. there truly is just so much in this program that I wanted to make a film about it, because I play acoustic guitar as more of a hobby, but I really want to become a film director one day. So I decided for my senior year I would just kind of dedicate my time in Rocket to play acoustic guitar, but also be a filmmaker.
That's so cool. It was such a powerful documentary. I'm sure it spoke to Meredith. Meredith is also a musician.
Really?
Yeah.
Piano and flute. My mother was a classical pianist and taught me and my brothers, and then I picked up the flute also. But at that age, you're so vulnerable. So having that support group and having people that have common interests, it's really, really nice to see. And then you get a big performance at the end, which is the reward, right? Of all the hard work and 8 weeks of rehearsing.
Yes.
Is it done in the summer usually, or?
They do it like for 4 seasons, yeah.
All year round?
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yep.
And all around New Jersey, right? Like.
Yeah, mainly in the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
But we actually have a performance tomorrow at the Cutting Room in New York. So.
Oh, sick.
So cool.
Yeah. That's a major venue.
Yeah, seriously.
No, it's a great program. I really did want to like get it out there too. I mean, I became a better musician in Rocket, being like influenced by great musicians around me. I wanted to be better, not just kind of playing by myself and not really knowing what I'm capable of.
Yeah, being a part of a group and understanding how to work together and balance the sounds.
Yeah.
Did you come across any struggles making the documentary?
Definitely.
Let's talk about that. Give me
Yeah.
So, I mean, my first interviews were definitely really stressful, because just doing it kind of by myself and just testing the waters, because I knew what I was supposed to do, but kind of doing it for the first time is always stressful. So that, and then having so much B-roll and footage in general to edit was crazy. And so I really had to I started editing like I normally do, like just kind of taking clips that look good and putting them in the timeline and kind of seeing what came together. But no, I had to create a plan and write it out and form a story, which I had never really done before. So it was definitely trial and error. And actually, one time I accidentally deleted all my footage midway through. I was total post-production. I had all my footage. I deleted all of it off of my external hard drive. So that was the worst time ever, but I got it all back. Thank God. We had to take it to my Lacey external hard drive to a tech place, and they were able to recover it all. It took a while, but that made me realize how much the film meant to me.
You. Yeah. Making a documentary is more difficult than people think. It's always a moving target, sort of, in a way, where you don't quite know where the ending is going to go and how you're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely.
And trying to pull out sound bites from your interviewees, what to ask and what you're looking for. So it's a huge feat, and you did an incredible job.
Incredible job, for sure. So I know that you have another project, Traffic.
Right.
And can you talk a little bit about the differences of making a documentary as opposed to making a narrative?
Right. So Traffic was really for a competition for the Sisters Against Human Trafficking Coalition. So they were having a video contest for students to make a film raising awareness about human trafficking. And so it had to be under 3 minutes, which is hard for a narrative. I put another challenge on myself, I can't have any words, because I was working with another film prompt as well, and I wanted to combine the two. So this was a little different than a traditional narrative. But the difference between making Rocket and Traffic was I storyboarded Traffic and knew what shots I was gonna get, and then it came together a lot faster in post-production because I had planned for that. But when making a documentary, it's so hard to plan, even the story. Like you said, going through those interviews and pulling out the sound bits of those 2-hour-long interviews, it's hard.
Yeah. And you uncover so many little treasures that you didn't even know you weren't planning on finding, but you do. So
yes.
That's very cool. Which one do you prefer?
I love them both, truly.
It's like asking which child do you love more, right?
Yeah. I couldn't pick a genre. I definitely want to do more narratives and documentaries in the future.
That's great. Good for you. You don't have to pick. What is the best advice you would give your future self?
remember your love for filmmaking and never let the business kind of bring you down, because I think that it could be really challenging to like listen to your intuition and kind of what other people are telling you. And I've seen that already, like when I've gotten advice about the documentary and stuff, like you kind of have your vision and you have to stick to it throughout the process of filmmaking. Because, I mean, definitely listen to advice, but know when you kind of know what you want.
Yeah, if you get some advice that just like doesn't sit and your gut's just like, no.
Right.
That's okay.
Trust
That's
your
okay,
instinct,
because your vision
100%.
is your vision. They
Yeah.
can't see that
And
necessarily.
sometimes, yeah, I could be a people pleaser. So I definitely don't want to let that get in the way of myself and my film.
Yeah.
You're not going to,
No.
because it's already on your radar. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And the more you do it, the more that you know when to follow your instincts and when to
Yeah.
listen. So
Mhm.
and
Right.
that's just part of growing up.
That's true.
For sure.
Do you have any inspirations or any favorite filmmakers?
Yes.
Any favorite films?
Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino have been my inspirations. Just their films, the music that they use, and just how they direct their actors is just really cool to me. Like all their films just inspire me to be like, I can't explain it, but their films just really make me happy.
Thank you so much for
Thank
stopping
you.
by. We wish you the best of luck. We know we'll see you around the industry because your films were amazing, and it just
Thank
seems
you.
like you are on the right track.
Thank you so much. And I truly appreciate you guys having this podcast for students like me to kind of have an outlet.
So important to us.
My name is Tyler Izzo. I wrote, directed, and acted in The Envelope.
And my name is Amanda Philipson, and I acted in The Envelope.
It was back in October or September-ish when I first got the idea for it, and there was a real sense of urgency to it because I had to make a film to submit to film school because it was application time, and I didn't have anything that quite met the criteria that a lot of the schools were asking for. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make one movie that meets all the criteria, but it also has to kind of showcase my own talents and unique voice. And I recently kind of come across some different artistic inspirations that influenced this idea, and then I just thought of it on a plane and got off the plane, and while I was waiting at the airport, I wrote down the idea and went from there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good plane
It's
ride.
there were some beautiful composition choices, and the way that you shot, the choices that you made to be black and white, and the kind of camera you chose. Can you talk about that?
Thanks. So that is my mom's old DSLR camera. It's probably 10 years old at this point, and it's about the only thing available to me other than my iPhone. And so we shot a movie over the summer using that camera, and I really kind of got to know it pretty well and how to use it and maneuver it. It's not an expensive camera by any means, so I was like, well, I guess I should probably lean into that a little bit more, and rather than see it as a limitation, see it more as an opportunity to influence the style of the film. And so I decided to go full kind of 60s black and white French film with it. And
Yeah.
Love it.
yeah,
I got the noir.
yeah, you got the little
100%.
noir. Yeah, like to hear that. So yeah, that's where it really came from. But it's just I feel a lot of people sometimes will see their equipment as more of a limitation, or their lack of high quality equipment as a limitation, but you can really do some interesting things using low quality equipment and make people think that it was a stylistic choice when it 100% was not a stylistic choice. It's just what was available.
It's good that you're sharing that, because other people will be like, oh yeah, we have these resources, what can we do with it? And I think you just graduated film school. You're
I mean, I wasn't really sure because it's there are kids that have film programs at their schools and stuff like that and have access to good equipment. But there's a lot of, I would say the majority of young people that want to pursue filmmaking don't really have access to equipment like that. And so we're lucky enough to live in an age where your iPhone is good enough to you can shoot a film on your iPhone. To stop seeing it as a limitation and just or like an excuse to not make a movie and go out and make a movie.
Were there any obstacles that came up that you overcame that you'd love to share with us?
Man, definitely like scheduling. I mean, you want to talk a little bit about like she was very busy.
Yeah. Well, also like I am at school, so it was like we had a weekend that like everyone could be there to help with the lighting or to help with this. And also like I think he has very distinct, like precise visions for like what he wants and stuff. And so he like I mean, I don't know, I'm not speaking for you, but like I feel like he likes to know the type of person and like if they can get to what he's wanting to get to. And so like he had to put himself in it because again, scheduling, lack of time, like and needing like the vision executed like in that amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have like all my close friends are very reliable people and all very artistic people. So like I have like 2 or 3 people who I know I can call up, and even if they're like in the city, like busy with their own stuff, like they'll make the time for me and like they'll come and star in my movie and do a
Good
great
friends,
job.
man. Hold on to them.
Right, exactly. You know, it's your job as a director to get something out of whatever actor you have. But if you can't get the people to show up and you know the scheduling doesn't align, then you're just not going to have anyone to work with in the first place. Yeah.
It's hard, like especially as a high school film, it's hard to get people to take it super seriously, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
And so of course if you have like some really close friends that are right there with you and like artistically motivated and they're excited to create something and they have that passion, then of course they're going to be like so excited and ecstatic to like come and help and be part of the project. But if you're trying to coax other people in, it's sometimes difficult to help them feel that and like see that yeah, maybe it's not going to get into a film festival or win awards or be something that people see, but it's more of something that's like we're crafting and we're honing in on our skills ourselves, and it's like part of the process.
Yeah. And it's just fun. Like it's a fun experience.
Yes.
Like be hanging out with your friends and like making a movie. It's like who cares like how well it does or like what, like you may not have the like the technical ability or like you know like the talent at that point to like make it into those types of things, but the only way you're going to develop the talent and the technical skills is by having a good time and you know testing things out and seeing what works and stuff. And yeah, I don't know.
You get poisoned.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah.
Smart girl.
Yeah. I love that comment. The fact that you've actually commented on something that I included in my film, that's a surreal moment for me. Surreal moment.
What's next? What? Obviously college.
College.
You're gonna keep making films?
Yeah, I'm going to film school, so the film worked is for what I was trying to do with it. Yeah, I'm thinking of making another short film like within, you know, definitely before I go off to school over the summer, like kind of like a longer one that combines a lot of style elements of like my previous films. I mean, this film that we made, it was a little bit more of like an exercise in like new technique and trying things out. And now I feel like I am in a position to like really do some serious writing. And I mean, this was a silent film.
Yeah.
Like I want to write some dialogue and like some, you know, more complex characters and stuff like that. It's really easy, I feel like, to feel like you're artistically unique when you're not surrounded by a lot of people who are artistic. But when you move to a new environment where you're surrounded by people who all have their own visions and their own things, it's a lot harder to have like you know, artistic integrity and like stand by like the values that you really want to like pursue in your career. So I guess that's going to be the big challenge of next year, like moving to a new environment and really figuring out like what values are the ones that I'm going to stick by in my like hopeful career.
Continue to exercise your craft is like that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you are unique.
Yeah.
Even though you're in a big space, you just have to know that always, because it is overwhelming. You walk into a room, there are like 40 other young women who look exactly like you, who do the same exact thing, but you are unique to what you bring to a role.
Right.
So know that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I just learned that there's software now with Premiere that will edit your podcast quickly. Like if you have a multicam clip, it'll literally just do it all automatically. And now, and I'm just like, well, my job will be obsolete in 10 years.
With AI, I think
I was
our
going to
jobs
say,
will
did you
be-
see that? I was like, what is that about?
That's the difference between an artistic vision, and each person has
Yeah.
their own way of doing it.
Well,
and
do you mind if I ask you a question real quick? Because I've been trying to keep up with like all the AI like software advancement stuff. I'm not a huge science guy or technology guy at all, but like as people who are like in the industry already and have been working for such a long time, like how do you think that's going to change like the development of AI and like the fact that AI is starting to do some artistic things too, which is something I never imagined. Like what do you think about that?
Personally, the AI that we have currently is all based on historical evidence, things that have already been shown on the web, right? Like ChatGPT is all taking everything that's already in existence.
Right.
Okay, your brain is way more qualified to make something that is unique and different and new.
Yeah.
And I think that it's sort of a balance between working with AI and a human.
I think it can be additive to our industry. I think it could also fix some issues that, like scheduling an actor. And, I don't know that it would be my choice. However, artists should always be first in this business. It's our humanity that makes our work great. The nuances of a human will never be matched by AI. The depth of behavior, the depth of experience, knowledge, and the ability to discern those and tell a story in a really impactful way. It's relationships. Like you said, that making films is fun. It is. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hope people realize that, like, we just simply cannot have AI generated art like replace the artist. That's the only hope I have for having like a job in this industry like 20 years from now.
And that's so in our hands, I think. Like it's up to us to steer clear from that, or to try and get back to like our essence of like what we're trying to do in the industry.
I think it's like using it as a tool.
Yes.
Is the key. And I agree with you. It is up to you guys. So
yeah,
it is. No
thanks,
pressure,
older
guys.
generations, for this.
Hopefully we don't disappoint.
You will not.
Yeah.
You will not. Not possible. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah.
This has been such a cool opportunity.
Sophia, tell us about your film.
Yes. Okay. So my film is about a boy named Soren who is dealing with a lot of struggles growing up and a lot of hard expectations with his father. So him and his partner go to a coffee shop and they go through all the struggles together.
It's when I watched it, it's such a simple idea, but it's so complex. Why this story? Why is it personal?
I turned 20 when I was writing it. So I was going through a lot of struggles with like growing up, and 20 is such like a scary year for me. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a film that's about growing up and the struggles of it. And I just love coffee shops, so I wrote a lot of it in a coffee shop. So
I love that detail.
No, that was definitely like the safe space for both of them.
Soren's partner Ray is actually non-binary. So I just wanted to, because I feel like that representation is very important.
It is important. It's something that I noticed in the film. And what led you to that choice?
So I'm actually non-binary, and I want to be able to share that story, whether it's like one of the main characters or one of like the side characters. I feel like it's important to have that, even though it's not like the center focus.
How do you think in the future this will kind of be a part of the fabric of your work?
Every film that I've made, I try to incorporate some story revolving someone in the LGBT community, because I feel like that's very important. And I feel like in the industry, there's not enough accurate representation. And I feel like that's very important because I want to be able to make things that people relate to, and that's what I want to do. So that's what I plan to do in the future.
And it's super personal, so that makes the storytelling so great.
What was the biggest struggle or biggest hurdle that you had to get over to make the film?
Honestly, getting a location, that was very difficult, because there's a lot of coffee shops where we go to school, So we went to like so many in the area. But we got very lucky because one of the people that helped out with the film works at the coffee shop that we filmed in.
Perfect.
Can you give the coffee shop a
Yes.
shout out?
Shout out.
Yay!
Cozy Cafe, Fairlawn, New
Fairlawn.
Jersey.
Thank you, Cozy Cafe, for
Thank you.
supporting student filmmakers.
Yes. Very important.
Very important. So this is such a tricky question. What would you say is your favorite film or director?
Oh my goodness. Right now I've been on a Wes Anderson kick. Yeah. I think right now it's Moonrise Kingdom. I think that's my favorite film right now.
Oh, gorgeous.
Cool.
Yeah, the mise en scène, the everything. To have that budget.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So flash forward 10 years from now, where do you want to be?
Hopefully behind the camera. That's what I'm hoping for.
My name is Matthew McIntyre. I go to Mount Olive High School, and my project is called Keepsake, and it's a short film about growing up and losing a loved one, unfortunately, and the pain that comes with that.
What inspired you to make this film? Why this story?
Well, I think about the films that I love and my favorite movies, and they all have this same sort of atmospheric kind of vibe to them, where the plot is not entirely clear, and it's more about the character and the like I said, atmosphere of the movie rather than the actual beat-to-beat story. And that's what I think my film is kind of about.
What did you discover in the process? It could be a personal discovery, something you discovered about your craft.
Well, I discovered how much I like making films without dialogue or very minimal dialogue, because filmmaking is a visual medium, and I think a lot of filmmakers forget that, and especially in the industry today, where there's so much exposition and so much dialogue, where they don't really let the visuals do the work, which I think they should, and that's what I kind of learned, to let the visuals do the work.
Yeah. The biggest lesson that you learn in film is show, don't tell, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Show, don't tell. Every professor says it.
And every
Show, don't
choice
tell.
you make influences what you're telling. So, like, for instance, you decided, you know, the differences of shooting SD versus HG, so like, or like the crop versus not crop, right?
Yes.
And when to utilize that, and you know, for what reason. So it was clear what reason you were utilizing it for. So I thought that came through really well.
Thank you. I'm happy that you noticed that, because I put effort
You
into
did that deliberately.
Like I did it on purpose.
You did it, yeah. I thought that worked really well.
Intentional.
And yeah, that, you know, that you captured like the lock of the eyes, you know, like when you're in high school or middle school, you lock eyes with someone and you're just like, but you're so embarrassed to even speak or say anything. Yeah, I think that was a great moment for me.
Yeah, for sure. As far as any obstacles that came up while filming or while developing this project?
Yeah, like the biggest struggle you might have had to overcome.
Yeah, I would say a boring answer, but I think it's getting actors available and
the
just
logistics.
Scheduling. It's
Scheduling.
really
Awful.
scheduling is the most difficult part of the process, I see.
Herding kittens.
Yeah, exactly.
So many moving parts, so many moving pieces. People's schedules are
You're
crazy.
available here, but not here. They're available there, not here.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the sound design.
I basically did all of the editing and post-production and sound design, all that stuff myself. What I found, it's a lot easier to perfect it if you don't shoot the sound on the day, which is what I did for the scene at the party, where there was like none of the audio that I shot that day like appears in the final film, and that's all like added stuff. And what I've noticed is that's the best sounding section in the film, I think.
Sound is really hard to capture. It's a very difficult craft. Do you have any advice for your future self?
My future self, I would say don't get cocky, because I think that when I get to college or when I get into the industry, I'm going to realize that everybody else is just as good, if not better than me. So I don't want to think that I'm better than anybody else. And I want to make sure it's all focused on collaboration and bringing other people up as well as yourself in the business and in college.
100%. No,
that is fantastic advice. If we could bottle that and give that to other people, we would.
But you do have a unique perspective, so don't discount yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because yes, you'll be surrounded by many other talented people, but you know, you have a unique vision.
100%.
So just stick to that.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. Trust yourself.
Thank you.
Make good friends.
Definitely.
Make good teams.
Keep those people close too. What inspires you? What directors inspire you? What films inspire you?
Well, my favorite films right now that I make films inspired by are A Brighter Summer Day is one. That's directed by Edward Yang. He's a Taiwanese director. He's really, really talented. And like I was saying, the atmosphere is basically the entire movie. And it's where the characters are like so, like the setting is almost its own character because it plays such a major role in the story. And other films like that are Call Me By Your Name and a bunch of films by Luca Guadagnino. Because I just think that the setting of a story is like so important to getting the audience immersed, and that's what I would like to do with my films. So I like pretty much any filmmakers that have that kind of touch.
I'm Vinny Albano. We both directed Love Aaron.
I'm John Stillwaggon. I also co-directed Love Aaron. I have another piece in here called Time. And you also have another film in here called Mr. Lonely.
That was DP on that.
Yep.
Wow. Nice.
So yeah.
So you guys are busy guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So actually, I should shout it out now. We're in a film program at Howell High School called FPAC, and this is basically what we do. We have a 2-hour class every day for film.
So cool. Every day.
Yep.
Can I come?
Sure.
Do you want to give a shout out to your classmates and teacher?
Oh yes, totally. So Mr. Knapp, Mr. Napolitano is his full name. He's awesome. He has been such a support with everything. Has taught us so much. He's helped us on every film, and I literally can't thank him enough. Same with our other classmates. One of our best friends, Justin. Also, he is the main actor in his film Time, and also the film I was DP on. He directed and acted in. Mr. Lonely Makes Friends, and Justin definitely deserves a shout out. So
awesome. Tell us about how it came to be. Like, why this story?
Okay. Well, I want to say 6 months before, we started a group of 4 people, us 2 and Ella and Megan, who I'll also shout out, and we're all in class together, and we were like, let's start doing stuff outside of class. So we were inspired by 80s slasher films, and we made our own like 80s slasher. The writing wasn't the best, but we really got to like get hands-on with the camera. We did like our practical effects, stuff like that. And after that, we're trying to come up with our next project, and we say, why don't we do Girls vs. Guys? So we made a little prompt, right? It was around Valentine's Day, so we said it had to be a film about romance. And I think the key setting was like the woods.
Yeah, and then there was one line of dialogue that we made sure to include was, there's something I need to get off my chest.
Okay. So then through February we wrote it, and March we made it. And we kind of flipped it a bit. We had been watching like Breaking Bad at the time, stuff like that. That was our inspiration. So we made a love story about 2 drug addicts who are essentially addicted, and it's a problem. So what happens is our lead actress Julia, her character winds up overdosing, and it's this basically it motivates Jack, who's our lead, to just find the path to recovery.
It's such a deep story. Tell us about what that journey was like for you, for the actors, for your crew. What was that like?
So, not to get too personal, but actually everyone in the cast had some sort of, and crew had some sort of relation with addiction in their family. We treated it tastefully, and we kind of knew what we were talking about, and it was actually a really awesome filming experience. Our cast, Julia Santiago and Jack Vaughn. I believe Julia's actually nominated for the Basie Theater. Yeah.
program at our school too.
Yeah. They were amazing. Working with them was amazing.
The fact that you can take something that is so personal that, you know, has touched everybody's life on your cast and crew and talk about it, and not only talk about it, but make a movie about it is amazing.
It's not easy.
So it was such a powerful piece.
I also thought the piece had incredible pacing, and the editing was really well done. I wanted to talk about the music, the choice of music, and if you worked with somebody or if you,
Yeah, so shout out one of my best friends, Jonah Chelnick. He is a jazz musician. He is a super busy guy. He's playing all over Jersey always. And we were like, oh my God, we need something powerful. And I hit up Jonah, and Jonah was completely down to do a whole score for the film, and everything is all piano, and it's all done by Jonah. So.
Amazing.
really well done.
Amazing.
Yeah, good choices.
What was the biggest obstacle?
It was relatively smooth. Like you and I were the only really crew, and Jack and Julia was the only really cast, so it was just the four of us. We probably shot in about 2 or 3 weeks. We had like 3 or 4 locations.
Yeah, honestly, it was a very smooth process. I'm trying to think of any like problems, but nothing really came up. Like small problems, like the camera died at one point.
We couldn't get the Zoom working, audio issues, stuff like that.
Classic.
Yep. Everyone's been there.
The alleyway location.
Oh my God,
stellar.
that was. I think that's probably my favorite scene. Yeah. This is like 2 weeks after I got my license, so I had all of them in the car. We almost like crashed on our way there. But there's a drain pipe in the alleyway, and there's a scene where he slides down, and this is not our alley. We're in the middle of nowhere. He slams it and like dents the whole thing, and we were like, oh my God, we're gonna get in trouble. We're done. But yeah.
What drain pipe?
I think that dent might still be there.
I think it is still there.
The drain still works.
It works.
It's fine.
Nothing's flooding. We're good. What was the greatest discovery for you as an artist?
I think the greatest discovery as an artist for me was learning my passion for just cinematography. I think that's now that we're going into college, I think I'm going to focus more on director of photography and cinematography roles. I've always been a very visual person. On solo films that I've directed, I've always had the visuals come first. And I think Love, Aaron was really something that really made me discover I have a passion for just the visuals, and I would love the film that's playing right now, Mr. Lonely Makes a Friend. I've DP'd on that. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I loved working with Justin, my director, on that, and working as DP with him. I just was cinematographer on another film he just did. So yeah, that's I guess my biggest discovery.
Cool. What about you?
Hard question. Honestly, I've always known that I wanted to be in film. I always knew I wanted to do film. I think more of the discovery for me was finding almost how fun it could be, I guess, because a lot of my early films were really stressful. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be good? And then after that, I was just like, I don't care if it's great. I just want to have fun on the set. Yeah. And really, because we've had this class together the past 4 years, we've really made a family. So I just I love doing stuff with my friends, and going forward, going into college, I want to find those same relationships on set, because the most fun sets are the best movies sometimes.
Yeah,
100%. That's what we found as well.
I have goosebumps. You will find it.
Yeah.
Because that's the best part of filmmaking. Don't tell anyone.
And hold on to the family that you've already created.
Because you will work with them again and again. I mean, we've both been working together for 10 years now. Yeah. And I have so many people that it's hey, you want to work on this thing with me? And I'm very proud to say it's always a resounding yes. It's not, what's your budget? It's yes, we'll make it work. and you'll find it. It's there. It's going to be there, and it's going to be there because you build it.
What are you most excited about for today, other than showing your film?
Seriously.
Are you excited about meeting other filmmakers that you haven't met yet?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Actually, I just love. We've been to a handful of film festivals now, and I just love just networking and just like meeting new people. Sometimes, yeah.
That's what you're gonna have to do.
Yep.
For the rest of your life.
Same thing, meeting other filmmakers. I think Chris was just in here. Yeah. I met him a year ago, and we like followed each other on Instagram. That was about it. And then I saw the screening last Friday, and I saw his film, and I just texted him. I was like, oh my god, it was amazing. So it's kind of funny, like the people you'll meet at other festivals, and then just run into again.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is so cool.
You guys are so talented.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So where are you off to next?
Well, I just committed to University of the Arts in Philadelphia, so that's where I'm going.
Philly's great.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a weird situation right now. Deadline is on Monday.
Oh my god.
And it's gonna be SCAD in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But I am on the wait list for Emerson, and I
Okay.
do want to go. I do want to go to Emerson.
I know some film kids from Emerson, and they loved it there. Good luck. Both are great options.
Yeah.
And you guys will do
You're
really
not gonna.
well.
You will not go wrong. We know that we'll see you around, hopefully on set somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your amazing work.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you.
I'm Lukas, and my film was The Summer Wind. It's a really weird story about how it came about because originally I wrote it to be an older actor. So it was going to be someone in their like mid to late 60s or so, and they were going to be dealing with like some type of like mental decay type disease like dementia or like brain decay or something. And it was going to be like what's going on inside their head because they're not really processing like reality around them. But as we got closer to shooting, I realized it's not really feasible for us to get an older actor in the time span that we had to make it. So we switched it a little bit, and I rewrote it so it was a teenager that's dealing with the trauma following a big car crash. And what's going inside his head is he's like kind of replaying it and trapped inside there. And yeah, so it wasn't really like it never like just like popped in my head. It had some alterations along the way, but it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
As
so
do
cool.
things
It
in this
happens.
industry.
Yeah.
I think that this film could be interpreted in many ways.
Yeah, I wanted to leave it very
and I
open.
enjoyed that. I thought it was sort of like even like the sleeper agent sort of thing where
right.
where you don't know if they're on a job or is this just in their head.
Exactly.
So, I thought it was quite well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you talk a little about any of the struggles that you had making the film?
It was a really pre-production was pretty easy because there wasn't too many things that I didn't know how to do. I kind of knew like what I was getting into, but what I didn't know is that we filmed it all with me behind the camera, not acting in it whatsoever, with another actor, and then halfway we realized, they're not some family emergency, they're out for the rest of the week, and it was due by the end of the week.
That is a big obstacle.
Yeah,
How did you get around it?
Was,
we know part of the answer.
It wasn't too hard because I guess I've kind of got used to it, especially with COVID filming myself.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to go and refilm the entire thing with me as the actor, and that's why I think a lot of the shots are just locked off camera tripod shots. The big car crash scene where there's fire and I'm standing in front of it. It was also like kind of raining, and I had to march out into the middle of this like abandoned field where this car crash was, set up the camera, I brought a music stand to pull focus with, and then had to set up all the lights and then hit record and jump in front for every shot in that scene. So it was a bit annoying, but I've kind of got used to it over the years, I guess.
The amazing thing about film is that we would never know that. From watching it.
Not
like
at all.
Hearing that story, like I wouldn't have known that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. Thank you so much.
What was a discovery that you made along the way about yourself, about the process, about the work?
Besides that, everything is easier when you have a crew, because that like kind of overshadows a lot of the production when you're like worrying about everything yourself. But also that like just you should be as ambitious as you can be, because something that comes with filmmaking is just like you will find a way to make it happen if you really want it. You can just find a way to get the shot. So like for the car crash, like everyone's like, "Ooh, do you really want to do that? That's really ambitious," And I was like, "No, let's go for it." and then it wound up turning out pretty decent.
I like that idea, and I think it will serve you well. Just like people will give you advice even if you don't ask them for it.
Yeah.
And to just trust your instincts and say, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite director, favorite films, anything that's
Ooh.
inspired you over the years?
So this one in particular was very inspired by Denis Villeneuve's films, like Blade Runner, like Dune. So that he's one of my principal ones. Same thing with Christopher Nolan, of course. I love a lot of his darker, grittier stuff. And Matt Reeves is another one that I really am inspired by visually a bit more. But I can't, it's so hard to say like what my favorite film is because like
it's like an impossible
because there's like the ones that I look at and I'm like, wow, that's a great film, like it's
Yeah.
inspiring, and then I'm also like, not like a guilty pleasure, but like 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my favorite movies. But I'm not like,
yes.
I'm not like.
But that's also part of this whole industry is that like we
yeah.
need things that are feel good movies. Like
it like film touches each part of your existence.
Exactly.
It's like your humor, your passion, your fears.
Exactly. Yeah.
What advice would you give to your future self or your self 5 years ago?
So for past self, I would say to be okay with being independent, because I mean it came with time, but it definitely took a little bit to like mentally get to the point where I was confident enough in my own abilities to just do something on my own. Because especially growing up, when you want to do bigger projects and you need a crew, a lot of the time you write something and then you realize, oh, I'm just not going to be able to finish it because I don't have the crew, I don't have the time. But a lot of that just comes with not really being confident that you can pull it off by yourself, and that you should just be able to just go for it and you see what happens. And I mean, like, there's no way to get better without a failure, over the time. So it's just better to accept it and just to do something rather than just push it off and then be like, I've only made one film.
Be way more informed down the road if you just like take a risk.
Yeah, but it's also like it's more of a percentage of like success failure. That's how I see things. It's like, well, that was like 80% successful and 20% we could have done better. Or rather than there's always a lesson to learn.
Yeah, like it could be just like one shot in a film.
Yeah,
that you're like but it's.
But look at all the other shots.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so cool. And your future self?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I guess I don't know if it's really advice, but it's just to just go as far as you can with an idea and to really stress the lengths of stories and stuff like that. Because once you create something that's smaller, like a short film that's like 3 or 4 minutes, and you prove to yourself you can do it, you might as well just keep on ramping up. And I feel like a lot of stories are limited not by budget but by time.
Yeah, take the time to make it the best it can be and not like rush the process just because of a deadline or something arbitrary like that.
I hate deadlines, but they're always there.
Life is full of deadlines.
That does not change, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame.
What's next for you? I know you're graduating high school in like a month or two.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's happening after that?
Officially, I've committed to University of Texas at Austin to pursue film and cinematography in particular.
Austin is such
amazing, right?
It's so cool. Really cool hub. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Big center of all like arts and stuff. So I was like, that's gotta be it.
That is so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
My name's Chris Zhao. I'm from Bridgewater Garden High School. I'm a senior. I'm going to Brown University next year.
Congratulations.
Yes, I am a filmmaker. I guess I can talk about how I got into it. I think that's an interesting story. So the way I got into filmmaking was I picked up my mom's camcorder in, I think, 5th grade, and I wanted to be like the next Dude Perfect. Dude Perfect, like they do like these trick shots and they get like millions of views. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the next Dude Perfect. And I set out with my friends and we started doing these like water bottle flip trick shots all over like my parents and their parents' houses. And I would film them on this dinky little camcorder with like a plastic tripod, and I put them on a YouTube channel. And like, unfortunately, I didn't get millions of views or all the brand deals I wanted, but I ended up falling in love with this process of making these videos, planning them, shooting them, editing them, and then like posting them and seeing like everyone's reactions. Granted, like kids are honest, and like they weren't like they didn't say like, oh my god, you're so good, but like it was just funny. Like they would like laugh, or like they'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And as I like sort of got into like middle school and high school, I really started enjoying this process of making videos on YouTube. I didn't even make short films or narrative films. It was just like doing funny stuff with my friends. And right around freshman year, I got into narrative filmmaking because my media teacher at high school, he was like, oh, you should enter this film festival. And I always wanted to make a short film because I got so into like filmmaking and video production that like I saw like, oh, people make short films. And so I think I made a short called High School Diffusal. And my media teacher was like, oh, you should enter it in Count Basie because we have yet to have a selection from this school yet, and it'd be really great. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll be the first to do it. So I entered it, and I got selected. And I actually won the audience award that year.
Nice.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That was
so
freshman year?
Freshman year. Everyone was like, wow, this freshman just got in and was the first one to do it. I work with people at the Montclair State University, and I've been making films with local filmmakers, people there, and yeah.
You're getting out there.
Yeah.
Man. So tell us about the film that you entered this year. It's called Score.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like,
Thank you.
I loved it.
Thank
I thought
you
it
so
was
much.
so personal.
Yeah.
It was such a great story. Like, but I'm not going to talk about it. You talk about it. Tell us how you came up with this idea. Why this story?
I always wanted to make a film about my journey as a musician. I grew up playing piano from like second grade, and I was sort of, I wouldn't say forced to play, but I certainly didn't enjoy it. And
I can relate.
yeah. But there was a time in maybe late middle school to early high school where it kind of clicked for me, and I became like very passionate about, you know, late 19th century, late 18th century classical music, which no one really cared for. And if you did care for it, you were known as like the weird person.
WC.
Yeah, something like
Romantic,
that, right? Yeah, romantic classical music.
Yep.
And I really wanted to portray my journey, my struggle through a short film, because I feel like up until this point, all my stories are a little bit autobiographical, and what I experienced, I try to put on the screen. And I had tried to make a music film in 8th grade, but things didn't work out. I tried again in like 10th grade. It didn't work out. I always kept writing and trying to figure out how to make this story work, because I didn't want it to be like, you know, a documentary or something too big. I want, you know, it had to like fit what I could do. And I just never could pull the resources together to really make it work. Like, you know, I wanted these judges, I wanted like a stage, and I needed all these people. And in 9th grade, I was just shooting with me and my friends, and I didn't have the resources. But this film sort of came together after, you know, you could say years of writing, maybe at least half a year to a year writing this script that I shot with the help of the people at Montclair, my friend Peter. I sort of, he pulled this project together, and I really did the best I could. So I'm really happy about it. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was beautifully shot, beautifully crafted, edited together.
Acted.
Thank you
acted.
so much.
Oh, but yeah,
Thank
acting.
you.
Obviously the playing.
Yeah.
It was a monster piece.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
It's very ambitious for me. I don't know. It kind of just all came together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you showcase obviously the familial pressure that you face, you know, with your parents, and struggles monetarily to give your child everything that they want, everything that they dreamed of, you know.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah. I guess the duality, if you want to call it, is like score is not just like the score of the music, but the credit score, where like the credit score of the parents representing like the financial instability or pressures where you can't do what you want. Like life is not always, you know, things aren't perfect. So yeah.
I remember like going into competitions and seeing those judges there and like feeling the you know, the nerves and everything, waiting in the hallway. Like you captured that so well.
Yeah. They'll never smile at you, by the way.
Never.
No, they won't.
They won't.
They won't.
They
like
don't
even
want
if
to. They want you to feel nervous. They like push that on you.
Exactly.
It's not. I mean, it's the same in the acting world, guys.
Yeah.
Any struggles that you faced, like making specifically? Obviously, we heard how you got to making it, but in the process of making it, shooting it, like what was the hardest part of the shoot?
The hardest part was the climactic moment where I had to act. I'm not an actor. I'm not a trained actor. I didn't even do theater. I play my roles through myself and my experiences, and that's how it comes off, I don't know, semi-natural, or as natural as I can do it.
Yeah.
And for this one scene, it's like one where I'm like tearing the score up.
Yeah.
I did a couple takes, and the reason you shouldn't like don't do like 14 things at once is because I'm trying to produce, direct, you know, manage everyone and act at the same time, do craft, like, you know, this is how all indie sets are, but my headspace is not in like, okay, like you need to play this character. It's more in like, okay, what's the next shot? Or like, how much time do we have, right? You're managing so many things. And I think I did 1 or 2 takes, and my co-director, he pulls me out and he's like, this is not working. Like, let me talk with you. And we stand in this hallway and he's like, Chris, this is it. Like this is over for you. Like, he knows my struggle with piano too. So he knows like not just the character, but me. I've been trying to like, this is sort of my like letting go of piano. And he's like, this is it. You know this, right? Like, this is not just a film. Like, you are actually like, it's over for you. And right when he said that, it sort of like everything clicked for me. And when I got back in there, like, I sort of gave the performance that I gave, and it didn't feel like acting for me, because I was sort of like expressing that frustration that I felt in real life.
It was authentic.
Yeah.
Very authentic.
Yeah. And I guess that was probably the hardest part of making the film.
Yeah. Grounded in truth. So
right, yeah.
Good acting is always grounded in truth.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Do you have any advice to give to either your generation or the next generation? Any insights?
I think I need more advice. I think I'm the one that needs more advice. But if I could, let's say I could talk to my like freshman self or my 8th grade self, I would have been like, what would I say? I would be like, at least I should have reached out to more people. Like, I obviously I owe everything to Peter. He's a film student at Montclair. I reached out to him in like 9th grade, 10th grade, and we sort of got along, and he's been on all my projects. So, you know, this project would not have happened without him. But yeah, like the importance of like this networking and reaching out, because if I didn't meet him on Instagram, none of this would have happened. I would have had none of this, you know, success, or any of this would have, nothing would have.
So the lesson is, don't be afraid to reach out if you see somebody that you think would be a great partner.
100%.
You know, like it never hurts.
Right. Yeah.
And people are always happy to help.
Usually.
Sorry. The people that you want to work with are always happy to help.
For sure.
Anytime someone reaches out to me, anytime someone reaches out to Meredith, and people that we've reached out to, they're like, sure, yeah, I'll have a conversation. Yeah, you know, I'll give you my advice. They're happy to help. I mean, I can't say that enough. They really are.
Yeah.
Any favorite films directors?
This is a tough one. For childhood, it's Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli. Spirited Away, Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery.
I just got a shirt with Ponyo.
Yeah. Like immersive realism. He gives you different side to animation that I think is, you know, quintessential for everyone to watch. I watch like pretty much all his works, so I know him really well. I could say like, okay, I am a Miyazaki fan.
Yeah.
But I do like work from Bergman, from Fincher. I've gone more into like art house cinema, so I'm looking at like Kurosawa, Lynch, but I can't say I'm a fan. I haven't watched enough to really understand.
That's fair.
You know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but
Bergman
Miyazaki,
though. Oh my
yeah,
god.
Seventh CO or Persona. Yeah.
What are you studying at Brown?
I'm studying film.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm studying film. The dream was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Cali. Like, I'm gonna go to Cali Film School, and like, because I feel like I have this perception that if you're in Hollywood, you're just gonna make it. Obviously, it's not true. It's I've heard from pretty much everyone. It's like, okay, it's about how much effort you put in. It's about what you are doing. It's not about like where you go. It's really about what you do there, like at the place you're at. And part of me, like I got rejected from all my Cali schools, film schools. So I was like, man, whatever. I you know, you do what you can. Part of me is like bummed out that I'm leaving New Jersey because I know this place is like, you know, becoming a very big film production place now, and it's right next to New York. But I guess I'm choosing Brown because I want to learn more about humanities and, you know, philosophy and other subjects related to film that I think will help me.
It'll make you a better filmmaker.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It'll
definitely.
make you, having that depth of experience and knowledge, it just makes you such a richer artist.
That's what I intend for. Yeah.
So, and you know, the business isn't going anywhere.
No, it's not. And Providence
You
is
don't think
really
so?
close.
Okay.
It's not going anywhere.
I was in LA for 7 years. I just moved back 2 weeks ago with,
Oh, really?
with my husband. So
I know people who start here, go to LA, come back. I know people who start in LA, come here, move to
Stay.
Idaho.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is just so different now, especially with how flexible it is to work from different places. So just meet people.
Got it.
Meet
Got
people
it. Okay.
and keep the good ones.
Okay.
And it sounds like you reach out to people without any hesitation. And that is such
yeah.
a skill.
Right.
And it's so important.
Okay.
yeah, I think Brown is an excellent place to
I went to acting
to
school
thrive.
with colleagues who studied at Brown.
Oh, really?
And they were in the conservatory that I was in, and they were tremendous actors.
Okay.
Smart people, like amazing, so many things to offer, and I think you'll be in good company.
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us at the Count Basie Teen and College Film Festival. Meredith and I had an absolute blast talking to these amazing student filmmakers.
So much fun.
Tune in next time on 101, a podcast.